All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Matty here from Chill TCG. We're on take number 2 of recording this video. First take didn't turn out so well, but we're going to be taking a look at the deck list that won Chill Series number 32 this past Wednesday. 325 players this week in the tournament, so thank you guys so much for playing. We have Aidan with us tonight. Aidan Khus, he won. He was playing PIKAROM, had a great run through the tournament. And if you guys don't have a chance or haven't had a chance yet, go check out that Grand Finals match video, which I did post a few days ago here on the channel. You can watch him play this match in the Grand Finals against Tempo Zard, Marcos Cifuentes. It was a really close match, a really good set, so I recommend you go take that out. But today we're just taking a look at his PIKAROM list. We've covered PIKAROM a few times on the channel, but you know what? When somebody wins the tournaments, we gotta kind of, we gotta put them in the spotlight, show their deck off a little bit. And PIKAROM's back. But first of all, what's going on, Aidan? How you doing?
Oh, what's up, man? I'm Aidan.
For sure, man, for sure. So, I mean, PIKAROM, dude, it's back. PIKAROM's one of those decks. I mean, again, before Battle Styles was probably one of our best decks in the format. When Rapid Strike Urshifu came out, when both Urshifus came out, people kind of stopped playing Peak for a while. But since Urshifu's kind of on the decline, at least somewhat in the past month or so, PIKAROM's obviously on the incline back again, and it ended up winning this week. It is a really, really good list. This is right here on the screen. This is what Aidan was playing, his exact deck list. And it's PIKAROM. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys already know it, but there are a few things that I want to go over. Aidan, the first thing that stands out to me is that you are running the 4 Boltunds, and I know a lot of people play 3 Boltunds, some people play 4. Do you typically play 4 Boltund in your PIKAROM list, and why is that?
I'm gonna be 100%. I think every PIKAROM should play 4 Boltund. The card is so necessary to just like what you're doing, and like starting Boltund is good in mostly every single matchup. That's what you want to start, because like no matter like what the strategy is, you're always gonna electrify onto your PIKAROM, like because or Mewtwo or whatever you have out. Like electrify is such just like a strong attack that you need it like throughout the game. And so is Bolt Storm. Like Bolt Storm allows you to hit for numbers that like PIKAROM and Raichu and Mewtwo just can't hit. So you need like that to like just like make your math like good for like 2-shotting stuff or like 1-shotting stuff. Even if you could like against Luke Metal, you could go and sweep their board with Boltund. There's so many just like vital things that you need Boltund for, and it's just like if you play 4, that maximizes your opportunity to start it.
Right.
And that's the ultimate goal of like playing 4 Boltund. And yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's not like you're running 3 anyway, right? I mean, you're never gonna run less than 3, so it just kind of makes sense where a 4th Boltund, because it's so important, starting with it is so important, that just adding that extra card in the deck isn't gonna be a big deal. Even if like you just draw into an extra one throughout the game, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. The card is so good anyway, where it typically isn't even that big of a deal. You know what I mean? The other thing that I wanted to take a look at or talk about was the amount of Pokemon search in your deck. I don't know exactly what the norm is for PIKAROM, but you are running 1 Cherish Ball, 1 Electromagnetic Radar with 4 Quick Balls, and I feel like that's probably enough. I don't know if typically people play multiple Cherish Balls or like double E-Radar, but with 2 Dedennes in your deck, the 2 PIKAROMs, the Raichu and Alolan Raichu, did you feel like 1 Cherish Ball, 1 E-Radar was enough for the most part on top of the 4 Quick Balls?
I felt like there's times where it's just like I wish I had more, but it's just like the deck is already so just like it's PIKAROM. Like there's like the list is so just like set in stone that there's like not really much more you can add. I've seen like lists that are playing like 3 Cherish Ball and like aren't playing the Tag Switch.
Right.
But personally, I think the Tag Switch is so incredibly good
I
in
agree.
the deck.
I've been saying it, dude.
It like deserves a spot.
Yeah. I've been saying it, dude, for like weeks, man. I've been saying it for weeks. Some of my friends who I test with, who I play with a lot, they're very avid PIKAROM players, and they sometimes they're not all about the Tag Switch, but whenever I see Tag Switch in PIKAROM, it really comes in clutch. I watched you Tag Switch onto your Mewtwo, I think, for Tag Bolt like once or twice in the final set, which was actually super important. I just feel like Tag Switch gives you that extra out to Tag Bolt sometimes, because most of the time you're splitting your energies. That's the correct play to do. But late game, if you're able to kind of move 2 over and attach 1, get 6 onto like a PIKAROM or Mewtwo to Tag Bolt for 3-4 prizes, it just really changes the game. So I feel like Tag Switch is super important.
Yeah, I feel like the Tag Switch is so incredibly good against like matches like Tempo Zard and like anything that like you need like the extra just like buff just to get to that Tag Bolt. Like there's like so many like ways that it's good. Even if it like something gets damaged and you want to like move it off of there,
Yeah,
like retreat it
conserve.
to the
Yeah.
bench
Right.
and conserve like your board state, or if you like if you need to like even if you want to like attack with a Boltund and you just like don't have a Boltund out, you could just go tag switch right into the Boltund and then just hit for a big number. Like there's so many just options that you have. Even like I've seen myself doing this multiple times. It's just like I don't have that last boss in my deck for game, but I have an Eldegoss in the bench. So I like will go switch into Eldegoss and then float up and then just
Right.
bring up something else just so next turn I can guarantee that I have the boss's orders in my
Right.
deck.
Yeah, right. Which is huge. You know what I mean? There's just so many applications. I mean, moving 2 energies to a Pokemon is so crazy good in general, especially with this game too. It's one of those things where you could even move 2 onto a Boltund and just kind of hit for big damage, you know what I mean, in the 200 ranges if you need it. So it's super, super good. PIKAROM, I mean, of course, 4 hammers and Peak, that's pretty much normal. You definitely shouldn't play Peak without hammers, in my opinion, but you do have 1 Yell Grunt, and I know a lot of people have kind of strayed away from playing that extra energy denial tech in the deck, like a Yell Grunt. Sometimes people play a fan of waves. You had 4 hammers and that 1 Yell Grunt. Did that 1 Yell Grunt really come in clutch? Do you think it's still worth playing that 1 Yell Grunt in Peak?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Actually, I was just playing around with the list the other day, and I was like, is Yell Grunt needed? And the answer is just like, it's a very personal preference card.
Yeah.
I think it's extremely good against Urshifu, against AEP, against E-Turn, but there's
Right.
cards like, I guess, Tool Scrapper that can work against other decks. Like,
Yeah.
Tool Scrapper is good against just like random
Like a
stuff.
Luke
And
Metal
Luke
or
Metal
something.
is like
Yeah.
the big one.
Right.
But like, if you're expecting like random stuff that you don't know, like Spiritomb, I guess it's good against too.
Yeah, true.
There's like a lot of decks that the Tool
Yeah,
Scrapper is
just
very
like the
good against.
random.
But like,
Yeah.
I think that I think the Yell Grunt is honestly just like a better card than like what else you could add. I guess you could add more consistency, like either like a 4th boss or like a second Cherish Ball. There's like a lot of stuff you could play around and add, but I mean, personally for me, I just haven't found something that's better than the Yell Grunt yet.
Right.
But so I would say keep it in the list. I
Yeah, I hear
feel
you.
like the list is pretty like a pretty good 60 cards.
For sure. I think PIKAROM's been pretty much figured out for a while. And it's funny because this is kind of the peak list that people were playing last format. You know what I mean? Like I think it's almost exactly the same with the Yell Grunt, with the double Air Balloon, Big Charm, Tag Switch. This is what I remember PIKAROM being played like last format, which I thought was like the most figured out and best PIKAROM had been ever. So it makes sense that it kind of came back. But yeah, Yell Grunt to me kind of feels like the 59th or like 60th card that you put in the list. Like you said, it could be other things, but I think for a lot of reasons, Yell Grunt, goes pretty well in PIKAROM. And then we have 2 reset stamps and 1 chaotic swell. I know reset stamp came in super clutch for you throughout the tournament, especially like in finals, but I think that you need at least 1 swell in the deck, and I think that 2 reset stamp is also correct. Do you have like would you play an extra swell, or maybe would you ever justify cutting a stamp from the list? Like, what do you think?
I would actually justify maybe adding a stamp to the list. Like, I was thinking about cutting, like, I've thought about cutting the Yell Grunt and adding a 3rd stamp, because this is just how good, like, stamp is in the deck.
Stamps.
Because PIKAROM, like, you need cards like Stamp and Hammer just to, like, stay in the game, because it's just, like, PIKAROM is one of those archetypes, so it's just, like, it relies on these cards to be, like, just,
Right.
like, maximize its potential, because PIKAROM's such a good card, but, I mean, like, the format moves on, and there's new cards that are coming out that are just, like, so... Like, you have freaking 330 HP monsters that will just, like,
Right.
destroy it. But you have to have these cards like Reset Stamp and Crushing Hammer just to keep pace of these decks that, like, are coming out now. And
I
to
agree.
set back stuff like Tempo's Art and, like, everything else. But second Swell is... The Swell is only extremely good against decks that, like, run Power Plant and Welder decks.
Right.
And the only decks that really run Power Plant are, like
Dragapult.
E-Turn.
Dragapult sometimes.
Dragapult sometimes, and I guess Luke Metal.
Luke Metal
But
also,
Luke Metal. Luke Metal usually only plays 1, so
Right.
you can pretty much just go Swell, bump their plant, and like most of the time in Luke Metal, I'm gonna be 100% honest, you don't really attack with the Mewtwo. You usually just want to go like with a straight Boltund play.
Just full blitz.
Or
set
you
up
can
Boltund,
or sometimes you don't even have to full blitz in that matchup. I found myself just like electrifying twice and just like straight up attacking into people's Zacians. Or like even like full blitz is good, and it's just like it depends like how the game is going, and you just have to like really read the game, and that's the best way I could describe
Yeah,
that matchup.
for sure.
But I mean, like if you know what you're doing, it's a very like I'd say it's favored.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think like if you talk to somebody like a Mike Fouché or Gabriel Smart, who was talking about it earlier, who recently was, I think he made a video on the Luke Metal PIKAROM matchup. It's funny because Luke Metal seems to get the win over Peak a lot of times, but I think for the most part, especially people who are more experienced with PIKAROM will say that matchup is favored for PIKAROM, and I tend to agree. I just feel like as long as you play it smartly and you conserve your resources throughout the game, you should have a distinct advantage in the matchup. But of course, it all kind of comes down to who draws cards, properly and who gets things set up early. Yeah, I mean, here it is, man. This is peak. And again, I'm a big component of Tag Switch. I love Tag Switch in the deck. I love double Reset Stamp, Chaotic Swell. Grunt seems really good in that ADP E-turn matchup. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, right now, if you want to play PIKAROM, this seems like, at least the exact 58, 59 cards that you should be running. And I really have no issues with this list, particularly at all. And again, if you're watching this, guys, the link to the export, or not the link, but the list, the exportable list or the importable list will be down in the video description. So if you guys want to put this into PTCGO and test it out for yourself, you guys can go ahead and do that. Next up, I just want to quickly, we got like five minutes or so left in the video. I quickly want to go over, and I'm going to bring up his matchups that he played here. So we're here on Limitless.com. This is Aidan here. These were his matchups that he played throughout the tournament. Of course, played a lot of games. It was a long tournament for Aidan here, making it all the way to finals. But these were the matches that he played, and there are definitely a few things that I just want to touch on. Right off the bat, things that jump out to me is he did go 3-0 against ADPs in the tournament. And I do think that PIKAROM has a good ADP matchup, but he also went 2-0 against the 2 Rapid Strike Urshifus that he hit. Which is interesting. And also, out of all these games, he only hit 2 Rapid Strike Urshifus, which really kind of shows you that Rapid Strike Urshifu isn't as played as it once was. And it ended up, getting the double win over Temposar later in the tournament, and then ended up beating PIKAROM in top 8 as well. Out of all the matchups that you played, Aidan, were there any that felt bad to you? Or were there any that felt, extremely favored in terms of matchups that are a bit notable? You know what I mean? Like, kind of what was your feelings in a lot of these matchups?
I don't think there was a single matchup in the entire tournament that I was like, I just cannot win this. And that's just like mainly how you feel playing PIKAROM, or just like, I mean, even like sometimes you feel like playing like ADP or something, and it's just like, it just comes down to like what you draw. And the 2 matchups that I did lose were, it was simply just like I did not draw well and my opponent did. Actually, in one of the cases, it was my Luke Metal opponent played a Shadow Box Mimikyu, and that really cost me the game because I prized. I just like had some weirdly awkward prizing, and I had to bench a Mewtwo, and I was like, oh, that's cool. The dude plays a Shadow Box Mimikyu, and I was like, oh, this is a free prize, and I just couldn't draw boss, so he's just locking down my Mewtwo, sitting here with his Luke Metals, and the dude just like. His Luke Metal list was so incredibly obscure, but I guess it worked for him.
I know. We took a look at it in our top 16 video. That's Dragon Lord, man. He was playing Aegislash. He was playing Scizor V. He was playing Mimikyu. It was a very strange Luke Metal list for sure. But sometimes the weird ones, man, they get to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I 100% like the Scizor V and Luke Metal. I like that people are playing that. I think it's a really good card in that deck. Yeah. And it's really cool. But for like matchups that I felt like were like, oh, there's no way I'm losing this. It was just like, definitely against like the Cinderace. Like I was like, there's no way I lose this. And Victini, just like all these welder decks are like really good matchups for PIKAROM. I'd say.
I agree.
The only big reason with like the Tempozard is just like the Marshadow is like a bit like hurts, and like. If they just draw incredibly well, there's nothing you could really do about it. And you like reset their hand, and you can like disrupt their hand as much as you like can.
They can still draw.
But at the end of the day, if they're just gonna draw out of it, then they're gonna win.
Right. But that tag switch though, the tag switch in your list, you can kind of get a mid game tag bolt off, KO the Oricorio, do something crazy. You know what I mean? And then stamp. So like, there's definitely some things you can do for sure with your list specifically, but. I know what you're talking about. Man. Blounds is one of those decks where, a lot of times that deck feels like it's playing itself. right? It's playing against itself. It's like, do I draw the right cards? No. Okay. Do I? Yes. You know what I mean? It's one of those types of deals. But I mean, you got the win in grand finals over Tempo Zard. Marco is a great player as well, so shout out to Marco, and go check out the grand finals video if you haven't already. The video's got almost, 1.5 thousand views or something, so you guys should check it out if you haven't already. And then Altaria, you played Gamer Allo, you played Altaria, Aidan, and Altaria is a bit different than Desi. We were talking about that in our first take of this video that we had to scrap, but the Tapu Koko is much more useful in that Altaria matchup, right, than it is in the Decidueye matchup?
Yeah, it's the Tapu Koko, if you go in and attach a Big Charm, especially Gamerala's list, I think Gamerala's list is a lot different than Azul's.
Yeah.
I have not played Altaria like ever in this format, so I wouldn't know, but it seems like a lot more weirder. He can't really like accelerate the energies because Azul played a Tapu Koko Prism, but Gameralo just like there's no way that he can like attach more than one energy in a turn.
Right.
Yeah, and he couldn't like hit more than 60 damage with his Altaria, so he had to just like hit through on my Tapu Koko, and if I take a knockout, I was like, oh, he can use Kangaskhan, but the fact is that he only played he plays 4 Twin, and they have to like raw draw into it, like off of like no, they have no search for that card, so they just have to draw into it manually,
right.
and thank God he wasn't able to like draw into it manually, but if he was, whenever I brought up my Tapu Koko, that would have been just like one more, I guess it's double the damage output that you could normally do in a turn with an Altaria. So it was scary, but I'd say it like
still felt fine.
It panned out in my favor in the end because I mean they have to draw so well. It's just like you apply so much pressure that like forces them to dig, and their deck can't really do that like as good as like other decks. So
for sure, yeah.
It's just like, I guess it's just like their deck is like more centered around like winning matchups that don't like have an answer to Altaria.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, I mean, listen, I don't got too much else to say. Again, it's a PIKAROM video. I know you guys probably want to see some gameplay, so if you're watching this, I do recommend you guys go check out the grand finals match. You guys can see Aidan play. A really high level match. 2 skilled players, really close set. So definitely go check that out. Yeah, I mean, there we go, guys. That's PIKAROM. Here it is. I'll put it back on screen for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to Aidan. Thanks for coming on the video, my dude. I appreciate it. We don't bring the winners on too often anymore, so it's cool to kind of have, one of our champions come on and we get a chance to talk to him. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't got too much else to say, guys. It's PIKAROM. The export is down in the description. Go play it. PIKAROM is good right now. It's winning tournaments all over the place, not just Chill Series. On that note, before we get out of here, Chill Series number 33 is this Wednesday, guys. Link to register for it's going to be down in the description below. 250 Battle Styles packs in the prize pool, free entry, and we do have another gold quick ball, which will be given to first place. So it's going to be a good one. I definitely cannot wait. Go register for the tournament. Link down in the description below. We're going to get out of here, Aidan. So thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to Aidan. I'll put his Twitter down in the description below. Go give him a follow on Twitter. And yeah, I mean, do you have any other shout outs you want to give?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to shout out Bart Musser. He's helped me with PIKAROM and stuff like that, and it's just like I like dead tired, and he'll be like, "Hey yo, this is what you do," and I'll be like, "Thank you," and like we'll be like testing and stuff like that, and he'll help me out. So I like to thank him. I'd like to thank my whole friend group. Y'all know who you are. I was actually gonna play Malamar VMAX for this event, and
good thing you didn't. Good thing you didn't.
I was like, I'm gonna like go play Malamar VMAX. I'm gonna go 0-2. I'm gonna drop. I'm gonna go to sleep. And they were like, no, play Pika. I'm like, ah. So maybe I'll play Malamar VMAX to a upcoming chill event, and hopefully we'll see Malamar VMAX wins the chill TCG number whatever.
33. That'd be sweet, bro. Let's get Malamar winning. I would love to see that, man. I really would.
Yeah.
But anyway, sweet. Yeah. Shout out to Bart. Shout out to all the homies. And shout out to PIKAROM. Shout out to Aidan. Yeah, I don't know. 20 minutes in. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll be back soon. Register for the tournament. It's actually tomorrow because today's Tuesday. I always forget. But yeah, tomorrow is the tournament. Go check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. All right, Aidan, let's get out of here.
All right.
Peace out.